Welcome to the Pod in Your Basement podcast, featuring Ben DeLessio and Joe Garza. They're alive, they're hungry, and they're opinionated.
That's
welcome.
good.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to episode 7 of the Pod in Your Basement. We are continuing Horror Fest 2025.
Oh, wait, what you call it? You call
Horror
it? It sounds like Hoyer Fest, like Brian Hoyer or something. An average quarterback for the Houston Texans.
Oh,
We're just a huge Brian Hoyer podcast. I think that was his first name. He had a good year too. Anyway, yeah, it is Horror Fest. Actually, you're right.
Yeah. And before we dip into this episode's topic, did you want to talk about something that you saw recently?
Yeah, because so today's topic is going to be grief horror, which is not a real subgenre, but
it will be after once this episode is released.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Joe and I kind of been talking about that. I think I said it last week as like a throwaway line, or I've just gotten that feeling after doing multiple horror fests, and I also watch horror year round, of course, but. How it's just like this is now just the new thing. I realized might be late to the ballgame there, but I wanted to discuss very much not a grief horror movie, but a movie that I had actually never seen before, and given when it came out, it had a big part on my childhood, as in just like referenced a lot, and I'll cut to the chase, which is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh yeah.
That movie sucks. The movie sucks, and I was so shocked because it was so like it came out in 97, so I was about 7 years old, so I was too young to see it, but I would have, even in the early 2000s, it was one of those movies that like I feel like just got talked about a lot. It does have a great title. And it has this, kind of heartthrob cast of the 90s, especially like that late 90s, early 2000s, bubblegum pop, Backstreet Boys era. It had Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar,
Freddie Prinze Jr.,
and Ryan Philippe. And they're like very, they're all very good looking, and it's a slasher movie. And I thought it was going to be, I didn't think it was going to be some pillar of the slasher genre or anything really great. Yeah. But I thought it'd be serviceable. I mean, that movie sucks. Like,
yeah.
It is just boring. It's bad. It's dumb. Like, it does a lot of those things that I just dislike, that like immediately take me out of a movie. I know you've talked about it with like ghosts just being weird for no reason.
Yeah,
I feel the same thing about just like humans just like doing something creepy, but then totally take and it's not like, oh, they were toying with them, and it turns out later that they are nefarious or something. No, they were just doing something weird because it made the viewer go, oh my gosh, is she involved? Is it? Right. No, not. It's just stupid. The killer doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
The movie not really making a lot of sense, and like, I guess, I don't know. It's very dumb. It's not fun either. Like you kind of hope that a movie like that it can at least be like a fun slasher, good looking people, like kind of it checks all the boxes.
Yep.
In terms of the setup. Also, this movie is supposed to take place in North Carolina, but it's so obviously California with like the gigantic cliffs. And they shot it on Route 1, which like is an iconic. I mean, like where the I think everyone knows kind of what happens in the beginning. It's even I knew what happened before, and I had never seen this movie. It's they accidentally hit someone with their car and cover it up, and then that's on Route 1. That's like an iconic American highway that, like, where does North Carolina look like that? And it's the same thing with the City of the Dead that drove me nuts, where it's like they shot in Savannah, Georgia, but it takes place in New England. I'm like, those look nothing alike. Just have it take place in Savannah or in the South or something, change the story around. So anyway, I just want to get that off my chest. And what sucks is I really wanted to bang, and I probably still will. I really wanted to bang I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original, and then I think it's a remake or that just came out in 2025. And that made me really not want to watch the 2025 version. And I'm probably only going to because I just kind of watch as many movies as possible from the current year, get them all in and see what it looks like at the end of the year, the movie year. But man, that really made me not want to do that.
Yeah. I remember seeing it a long time ago, and it's a garbage movie. And I expected more because it was written by Kevin Williamson, who previously wrote Scream. And I think he wrote a few other installments in the Scream franchise. I like the first Scream a lot. I don't, I've mixed feelings about the sequels, but at least like the first Scream was a pretty clever twist. At the time, it was a clever twist on the slasher genre.
Scream is great.
Yeah. So I was expecting so after I revisited Scream, this is a pretty cool movie. It's, this definitely holds up, right? And I was like, okay, I'll check out I Know What You Did Last Summer, written by the same guy, came out in the same that slasher boom. So I'm like, okay, like I want to see him do kind of like a twist on urban, like it's based, or at least inspired by the urban legend of the Hook, it's been around for decades. So I was like, okay, he'll do something cool and clever here. And to me, it's just it's very glossy but bland retread of 80s slasher movies. It's like they got hot people and they're being picked off one by one by somebody with a sharp implement, and that's it. Like there's nothing particularly that really stands out. To me, it's just the movie that was like it was a much lesser slasher movie written by the guy who wrote Scream. And I guess the idea of setting it in like a little coastal town, but even then, like setting doesn't,
well, it's based on a book, so I don't know how faithful it is to the source, but I mean, it's like not fun. Like there are a lot of movies that follow that
formula.
That formula that are really enjoyable, and they can add a twist here or there. But this was just like, oh, that guy's the killer, and like it's not fun, and that's all that I guess matters when it comes to a slasher.
And I do remember that the red herrings being really obnoxious, just being like, is the shopkeeper the killer? Is the waitress the killer?
And then there's this scene, and this is the last thing I'll say about this movie till we move on. There's a scene where I think the actor's name, I liked him a lot from Roseanne. I think his name's Ryan Glowacki. Something like that.
Johnny Galecki. Yeah, he's
Johnny
also
Galecki.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, he's Big Bang Theory guy, and he's in it. And spoiler alert, this movie came out in 1997. He dies, and then so he's in like the trunk of a car, and what's her name? Sarah Michelle Gellar. No, the other one, Jennifer Love Hewitt, finds the body. And it's like covered in crabs, dude. Like tons, like must have been 100 crabs, if not more. And she like runs somewhere. You don't really know how far, but like runs to a friend's house, brings the friends back. And it's the classic thing where it's like, well, the body's gone. What do you mean? I'm sure it was here. Oh, okay, Sally or whatever her name is. All right, the body is really so-and-so was dead here. It's like, dude, there's no, even if you move the body, like there would be blood or there'd be something, or there would be crabs because there were so many crabs. There's no way that someone would have moved all of those crabs.
Yeah.
It's just like a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. Either don't cover the corpse in crabs, or don't have that in there. Like that. It's just, it was so stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can move on from this.
Yeah.
movie.
Roger Ebert gave the movie one out of 4 stars and wrote that the best shot in this film is the first one. Not a good sign. So that's a good way to describe it. Anyway, so grief horror. So this was a throwaway line that you said during the last episode. And when as soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah, actually there are a lot of movies that center around grief. So I asked ChatGPT and I was like, how would you describe grief horror? And it did a pretty decent job, I think. And so I'll just go through like some of the characteristics here, and then you let me know what you agree and what you disagree with here, Ben. Grief horror is a subgenre of horror that uses the emotional and psychological experience of loss, death, trauma, guilt, or mourning as its primary source of dread. Rather than focusing on external monsters or gore, it explores how grief can warp reality, distort perception, and invite supernatural or psychological horror. So the core characteristics include emotional realism over shock, ambiguity between reality and delusion, isolation and introspection, transformation through trauma, and symbolic supernaturalism. I think that's pretty decent. And the thing about trauma, about grief too, especially if it's like, the loss of a loved one, is that when people are grieving, they can they're much more susceptible to believing in things that are never going to happen. It's like, oh, like maybe I thought I heard them. I thought I heard them talking to me at night or something like that. And it's like, that's just such a deeply relatable thing. And but like it translates so well to horror of like, oh, I heard something, or I saw a shadow that reminded me of them, or I had a dream about them. Maybe they're talking to me. It's like, no, it's just a demon. It's just a ghost. So common themes include denial and repression of loss, guilt over death, especially of a child or a partner, the impossibility of moving on, the seductive pull of the afterlife, and the cyclical nature of trauma, such as family legacies and inherited pain. I think these are pretty accurate way to describe a subgenre that only existed for like 11 minutes. So did you want to start off with what you thought was a good example, or even a bad example? I've got a few bad examples of grief horror, but did you want to kick things off with?
Well, it's not like, I don't know if so I can give both good and bad, and it's not an exact science what is grief horror, because I was even reading,
we're explorers right now. We're being explorers right now.
Subgenre. So I'm like, there's some I don't even necessarily agree with, like, why is that? When I mean grief horror, I'm saying like it's set up more or less right away, or very quickly, that there has been loss, and usually like a loved one, usually a spouse or a child, and then it just goes from there. Like that's the context we're in. This person is in mourning, which feels like most horror now. I don't know if that's statistically accurate. I haven't seen the Terrifier movies, for instance. I don't know if that's what's in there, but it does feel like every single movie I watch from like current, like 2025, even 2024, 23, going back to a decade, more than a decade, it feels like a ton of them are that setup. And I think the Babadook was like, I don't know if it was the first, obviously not the first, but like in this wave of this, and maybe because that was very successful, that's just how Hollywood works, is that the next script, we're going to do the Babadook, but this, or it's going to be the Babadook, but just like everything was Die Hard, but this, or Die Hard like that. And every action movie was some sort of relatable protagonist, every man against the odds, whatever it is. So Babadook, I get, and Babadook was a really good movie. Don't get me wrong. It was really
I love
good.
that one. Yeah.
So my favorite movies, Midsommar, was that. I didn't even really consider that to be grief horror, but like right away, you learn that her sister murders her family.
Yeah, and committed suicide.
Murder suicide, and she's the only one. Like, I didn't even really think of that. And I think Midsommar is like messes with people in so many ways. Like it's bright and it's blondes and it's weird and flowers and shit, so it's like a weird thing. But those are the I think, becoming now more and more the exceptions, where a lot of movies are just, all right, here we go. Like, okay, we know that this person died, and now this person's gonna be haunted. Let's do this.
Right.
I think an example from this year, like Woman in the Yard, was one that was not very good, and they're becoming much more. They're becoming much more overt, like literally a manifestation of someone's grief, just like everything was a manifestation of death. That's a trope. Which I've written that trope. A lot of people, like, it exists for a reason, but like now it's just becoming the manifestation of suicidal ideation or grief or whatever it is.
And I think when the Babadook did it, it was pretty, I don't want to say it's completely original, because I've got some examples from going back to at least like the 1980s of horror films that would fall under this umbrella. But I think it did such a great job of using grief, using this boogeyman like character as a metaphor for grief, and how it haunts us, and how we have to confront it, we have to live with it. It felt very fresh and unique at that time, because at the time, mainstream horror movies were just kind of, it was like, this is definitely after the sort of torture porn thing. So I was like, oh, this is cool, this is deep horror. And, it relies less on blood and guts and jump scares, and relies more on unnerving, and also is much more personal, and requires a lot more genuinely good dramatic acting. So it felt fresh at the time, but now it is starting to become a little bit of, okay, yeah, I get it, that it's the spirit or the entity is a manifestation or a metaphor for grief or depression, or so now it's not profound anymore, really. And I'm not saying that it can't be profound, but it is starting to become like almost like an easy way to kind of get your way into the elevated horror status, I think.
I know Hereditary, like, I saw Hereditary on the list, but why exactly would that be? But like, I want to be clear, because when you say, like, when someone says like grief horror, like, yeah, in most horror movies people are dying, like it's usually a thing in most horror movies, so that's not what I mean. And Hereditary, if I remember correctly, like the young man, right, the high schooler, is being haunted before his sister dies, right? Like that's part of why, or no, is that not right?
No. So Toni Collette's character, her mom died, and so the first scene in the movie, I believe, is them going to the funeral of Toni Collette's mom. But there's like this weird sort of like unresolved, tension, where it's like, she loved her mom, but at the same time she was so weird towards her.
Okay.
She did, and so I would put Hereditary in the grief portion, because it does. So I mean, there are two funeral scenes. There's the scene at the beginning where they're going to Toni Collette's mom's funeral, and then in the middle of the movie when our sister's funeral. So I would put it in the grief horror.
Okay. I thought all right. I thought that like the hauntings were starting before the girl dies, which, okay, spoiler, like that's, but the movie's been out for a while.
But there are creepy people who show up around, so but the supernatural stuff doesn't really happen until after the girl's death.
Okay. I guess I don't remember that part. It's still so Hereditary again, and maybe these are because these are really, like, it's a great movie. It's not following the script so much, so the script, so to speak, where the script really of what I mean is it's established right away that someone has passed away who means a lot to these characters, or soon or like they pass away shortly into the movie, and then hauntings begin, and those hauntings are oftentimes a manifestation of grief, and it's just sort of, I think, I don't know if Rosario I watched recently. I don't know if that's necessarily grief horror or if that's more. It kind of feels more like guilt horror, which is fun. Which I think you would appreciate because it's like Mexican American family, and basically I think the movie came down to this girl didn't call her abuela enough, so she haunts her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe there's a bad movie. Maybe that's too simplistic, but I'm pretty sure it's like I think the message in this movie is to call your abuela.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like she lives far away. Like they live in New York City, but she's like finance. It's very like generic finance talk, and she's doing finance stuff down on Wall Street, and she can't be bothered with her abuela who lives out in Brooklyn or way uptown or wherever she lives. I forget where. I think the movie starts in Brooklyn, but I don't know if that's where the abuela lives. I think like she lives in a bad area, right?
Yeah,
and an area that's not desirable, a really shitty apartment, and the granddaughter is living in a really nice apartment, working on Wall Street or in finance, just really generic finance jargon, and like goes, and she like hasn't visited her in years, and I want to be like, yeah, you should get haunted. Like you live in the same city. It's not even hard to get to her.
Yeah. Guilt horror.
It's guilt horror. It's like the only like a Latino or Italian Jewish family could understand. Like
right.
Guilt horror. You don't call your nana enough, you get haunted.
Dude, you're just like a subgenre defining fool, man. You're just coming up with subgenres. So this, I've heard of this one. I haven't seen it. What's interesting though is that it got a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, but a 4.3 on IMDb.
What's that?
Rosario.
Oh.
So critics seem to like it more than
regular people. It's bad. Well, what's the other half of what's the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes?
I can't be bothered to look that up.
Okay. Well, I looked at I use Letterboxd now. That's where I put all my reviews. By the way, you can follow me on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Bendelisio. And I think that has a better gauge because Rotten Tomatoes, like that's what I've always used for years. But like when you look at it, Rotten Tomatoes is just what they think the review is saying. So like obviously a really positive or really negative review is going to be kind of tallied correctly. But like reviews in the middle, it's like I've read reviews sometimes or like the snippets from the review, and I'm like, how is that positive?
Right.
Like why is that under a positive or why is that under a negative? Where the audience score is actually typically more accurate because they're actually giving stars. But anyway,
right.
Well, I like Letterboxd. On Letterboxd, a very, very bad score. I forget what it is, but it's like under a 3, which is not good.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, one of my picks for, now I think guilt horror. My next pick probably fits under guilt horror more than grief horror. But but I'll bring it up anyway. It's still kind of in this subgenre of like a deeply emotional, like deeply personal, like human connection, and then something horrific happens in that. Kind of latches onto that. Anyway, the film that I recommend, and actually I think I told you about it, was Relic from 2020.
Right.
It is a psychological horror film. So it's these 3 women. So Kay, so it's Edna, who's the grandmother, and then her daughter, her adult daughter, Kay, and then her daughter, Sam's like a teenager. So Kay and Sam, they don't get to see their elderly grandmother / mother that often, and she's starting to succumb to dementia. So they're considering putting her in a home, but she doesn't want to. But she lives by herself, so it's like, well, you can't be left to your own devices. But then like but I won't spoil too much. But the horror, like the more supernatural horror elements, are manifested through it's like they think it's dementia, but it's actually something more supernatural. So I don't know, is it possible to like pre-grief something, to like pre-grieve, like, oh, like this person, like they haven't died yet, but they're going to, like they're slowly rotting, they're slowly rotting away.
Yeah, I know you talked about this one. I think that is on my list. I think I have to check it out.
Yeah.
But wait, do you think do you like it or not? I forget.
I love it. I think it's a great
You
movie.
think it's good? Oh.
Yeah. I thought it was great. Similar in some respects to I guess the Babadook in a way.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so I won't give much else away, but yeah, there's some elements of body horror as well, Benjamin, which I know you
Nice.
dig. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like the performances are great. And I watched it with my friend Jim a few years ago, and after we were done watching it, he was just like, "Dude, this makes me want to call my mom." It really is a sort of like, yeah, I should really appreciate the people who raised me a little bit more. And so I will say this about the writer and director. Her name's Natalie Erica James. She did 2 great short horror films that are on YouTube. One is called Cresswick, and the other one's called Drumwave. Again, very good, more drama-oriented horror films. So I highly recommend checking those out. But yeah, check it out. Relic 2020.
All right.
Yeah,
I know a good one. I watched recently. I know it came up last episode. I know Jim didn't really like it, but I thought it was great, which is Bring Her Back. It's actually, now I think about it, it's like a twofer for grief. It is right away the main characters are a brother-sister duo. The brother is 17 and the sister is like 12 or 13, around that age, I want to say.
Yeah.
Maybe a little older, actually, maybe 14, 15. But their father dies like pretty much right away, so they become orphaned, and they're also half siblings, and they get put in a foster home with a woman who also recently lost her daughter, and it is, so she's grieving, and let's just say she's not handling it great. Not that I'm blanking on the actress's name, but she gives an incredible performance, like really, really excellent. Totally blank on her name. She was in The Shape of Water. I know
Sally Hawkins.
Yeah, she is great, dude. You haven't seen this movie, right?
No, I haven't, but I did see Godzilla that she was in, I think.
Okay. All right. So very similar movies.
Right.
But this movie's really, like, this is actually, now Sinners is my top movie of the year so far. I know there's a lot of good movies I haven't seen, but this is up there, and definitely would be like my number 2 horror movie of the year. And it's really, really excellent. It's creepy, both from just like Sally Hawkins acting and also the material, like what you see, what she's trying to do, really messed up. And it's cool because it has horror that's like, even if there weren't supernatural elements involved, it would be disturbing, like just a kind of a sick woman,
right?
Which is the worst kind.
Yeah.
But that's a joke. But also then there's also like classic scary shit, like just like creepy, scary stuff. Definitely some like hard to watch scenes. But I'll leave it there because that's a new movie and I don't think a lot of people have seen it, and it's excellent. The worst part about the movie, actually, scary thing about the movie is that they're Australians. So you have to get over that, which I know is tough. But if you can get over that, and probably like one other scene that's really hard to watch, just like kind of makes your skin crawl.
Yeah.
That and them having Australian accents are probably the two toughest parts of that movie.
All right. Okay, I'll check it out. I heard good things from some podcast dude with glasses. He's got likes cats and stuff. So I'll give it a listen. I'll give it a watch.
You should always listen to him.
So I've got a bad
Ooh,
grief horror movie.
ooh,
So this
bad
is
one. Tell me.
The Night House from 2020.
The Night
Have you seen that?
House.
Yeah, have you seen that one? It's got
Oh,
Rebecca Hall in it.
No. I'm gonna look it up though.
Rebecca Hall plays this woman whose husband recently committed suicide. It's got a cool premise.
Have
So
I seen this movie?
her husband is an architect. So he designed the house that she now lives in, but she discovers that he built another mirror image of that same house, like across the lake from where they lived.
Genius.
Yeah. Well, it's got kind of an interesting premise. So, and then he left her this vague suicide note that says something like, "Oh, you were right. There is nothing. Nothing is after you. You're safe now." So like, okay, this is interesting. This is cool. I like the premise. And so she discovers that her husband was murdering women who look like her out in this house across the lake from where they live.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It had an interesting premise, but I thought it was too heavy-handed. It was a little too melodramatic. There's this one. I hate dialogue that's just way too. This just like an expositional dump, right? So Rebecca Hall, she plays this teacher. And so she just returned to teaching school, and then so she's grading papers after school, and then the parents of one of her students comes in and goes, "Hi, so I want to talk to you about Billy. You gave him a C, even though he was on time, this and that." She goes, "Yeah, but he didn't fully complete it, so I had to drop him down a little bit." And she goes, "Yeah, but we had practice and this and that." And she goes, "Okay, you're right. I'll give him a B. How about that?" And she goes, "Well, I don't want you to just raise it. I'm just wondering why you gave him a lower grade." And then Rebecca Hall goes, "Well, I just found out that my husband committed suicide because he had a gun that I didn't know about, and he built an entire house across the lake from where." So she just kind of dumps everything at once, and you're just like,
gotcha.
"Okay, that's like the screenwriter just couldn't find a clever way to imply all that or to show it. He just kind of dumped it all at once." And I was like, "Oh God." There's some cool visual trickery. So those what do you call them, where it's like, is it the profile of two people's faces, or is it a vase?
Gotcha.
That sort of thing. So this movie does a lot of that, of like a human like figure, and then the camera will turn, and then it's like, oh, it's just because like there's this very ornate pillar that lined up perfectly with the wall or something. So it's like she thinks that there's like this figure is following her throughout her house. So there's some cool trickery. But yeah, it was just a very flat movie ultimately. I think it's just heavy-handed and bland. Cool premise. But I do not recommend The Night House.
Do not recommend. Yeah, I won't see that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Rebecca Hall's filmography because I saw her in something recently, but maybe not. Maybe I totally didn't, because I don't recognize any of these.
Oh.
So it's not good. It's not great. Great radio there.
Oh.
I'll move on.
Your turn, dude.
Well, I don't know if I can't think of any other movies off the top of my head. Well, okay, so I did look at some lists, so I guess I can go off some of those.
Yeah.
One that I'd be willing to give another shot, maybe, but I was very unimpressed by it, and it might have been a victim of just the hype monster, where everyone talks about this movie being so like really good and scary, but I just didn't feel it was also an Australian movie, Lake Mungo.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Yeah, that one popped up in my searches. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's like a mockumentary about a family grieving over the loss of like a daughter sister. and it's from the late 2000s, and then it's like the technology isn't the best, and then I think it even takes place earlier than that, maybe. So like it's like kind of like a lot of the evidence in it is like grainy flip phone footage that I remember, and it did not have the payoff at all that I thought it would. Like nothing like a uh, Blair Witch Project even sort of payoff. I can't remember the specifics, but I know that some like that's one that some you ever watch a movie or you had watched a movie that you're like, you know what, I would give that another shot. It was good. Like I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It was good, but you see it on so many lists. Like I feel like I saw that on scariest movie ever made lists. Just like again, I was listening to a podcast because we have to go every episode mentioning this movie about like the scariest movies ever made, and Skinamarink was on that again. Like I don't get it. It's not scary. It's just a lot. It's just long and weird, but it's not a scary movie. So like Mungo is one that would be my, like, if I had some good, some bad. Well, guess what? I'm gonna throw one right down the middle. I mean, so not good. Like it's good, but I wouldn't put it in like the Hereditaries, Midsummers, like that. Those sorts of grief movies I think are great. Like Babadook, like those are like if someone's like, hey, refer me 3 to 5 grief horror movies. I want to really dive into grief horror. Give me some recommendations. Like those are what I recommend. But then it's like, oh, what is something bad grief horror? I wouldn't say like Mungo's that either. It's kind of right down the middle. Again, you have to deal with Australians.
Yeah, if they did here in America, you think that you would give it a higher rating if it was like
100%.
Lake Chattanooga or something?
Yeah, like Chattanooga. Yes, absolutely.
Lake Yankee, dude. And here, this pisses me off. Like this makes me not want to watch the movie at all.
Like
okay. Yeah, on March 13th, the film was shown at the Traveling Film Festival in Wagga Wagga.
Get out of here with that Sesame Street bullshit. Like Waka Waka. Is that not a Sesame Street thing?
Yeah, no, that's no, that's it's still a Jim Henson thing. It's the Muppets. It's Fozzie Bear. Fozzie Bear. Waka Waka. Yeah.
Is that who does that? Fozzie Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah, same shit.
Frank Oz, which Oz is often used as shorthand for Australian. So yeah. Anyway, like Mungo.
That went right over my head.
What? Like Mungo?
No, that reference you just made.
Oh, Frank Oz?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the one who voices Fozzie Bear.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that.
Yeah,
everyone knows that.
Yeah. He also voiced Yoda, which is why Fozzie Bear sounds like Yoda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Like Mungo, yeah. Wagga Wagga. Come on, give me a break.
Get out of here with made up shit.
Okay. So you highly recommend Like Mungo is what I'm hearing.
I'd say give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. I don't know. Maybe
I'll give it a shot. It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That I don't get. Like that's, but again, that's the Rotten Tomatoes, which is
I know.
That would be like, so I think people don't realize this, and I know this is kind of a tangent, but the Rotten Tomato score, the critic score, if 100 critics said a movie is good, right?
Yeah.
This is or even like okay, good, between good and okay. If 100 critics just said that would have a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's how Rotten Tomatoes works.
Yeah.
That is, when people see 100, they think it's like, oh my, this is one of the best movies of the year. It's gonna be incredible. Like, no. What it's saying is no one said it was bad. That doesn't mean that it's like a 100 out of 100, 4 thumbs up, 5 stars. That's a misconception with the tomato score. That's why Letterboxd is much better, even the audience score.
Right. No, for sure. And it says the average rating on Rotten Tomatoes is 7.6 out of 10.
That seems. I think I forget what I gave it. I can't find it right now. So I'm signed out of my letterbox on this laptop, and I don't have my password right now. But I think I gave it like a 73, which again, that's good. That's a good movie. But it's not a 95 or whatever it would be on Rotten Tomatoes if you took that as like the same percentage.
I've got another. Well, okay. So you didn't say this is bad, but I have another bad one. Okay. This is We Are Still Here from 2015. You heard of that one?
We Are Still Here. I saw talk about it. I forget if I've seen that.
So it's these two parents whose son recently passed away, and the mom is experiencing depression. So the husband decides to move out to a quaint little town in New England, and it turns out that the house that they're living in was used to be a mortuary in the 1800s.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I've not seen this.
Yeah, so it's set in 1979. Oh shit.
What?
Well, I might have to pause. Somebody started a fire right outside. It's in the alley, but just give me 1 minute. I just want to make sure it's okay. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Everything's good.
So Joe just had to pause and run outside because he lives in a hellscape, which is Los Angeles, and so there's a fire.
Yeah, no, it was a little one, but so I live right next to an alley on one side of my house. So my roommate Zach was like, "Hey, dude,
Cholo Alley."
Yeah, seriously, dude. Dude, you know what? So he put it out. He's able to just get the garden hose and put it out. But you know what it was? Some jackass, probably like a hobo or something. But like he was starting. He made a makeshift barbecue out of like a bike wheel, and so he was using the spokes as like a grill, and so he had some like pieces of meat. Like,
oh my god, dude! All right. You know what I'm gonna say. How do you live in this place? Like,
it's turning me into a man. It's
wait, the guy ran, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. I went out there, and then just some other neighbor was out there and cleaning it up. But it was just like, yeah.
What a fucking dumbass. All right.
Using a bicycle tire as a grill.
Gross.
And he had big steaks on it too. Like,
it's ruined good meat.
I know, man. Well, anyway, so I think I said I had it. Oh yeah, I was talking about We Are Still Here. So yeah, this grieving couple, they're living in a house that used to be a mortuary. But here's what pisses me off. So they're meeting some of the other like local residents, and then one of them even tells them, "Oh, you know that house used to belong to the Dagmars, and it's got kind of a dark history." And they're like, "Oh, really? Well, you know that was a long time ago." And
went on that road.
Yeah, and then like, well, you know, that was a long time ago, and you know, it's our house now. And then the guy goes, "No, it still belongs to the Dagmars." But so, which could be like, okay, kind of generic, you know, stereotypical horror movie type of line, right? But here's the thing: the guy who said that, he's actually in cahoots with the evil spirits that live in that house. Naturally. And every 30 years, they have to sacrifice some family. You know, but why are you trying to spook the family to leave the house if they're the ones who you're going to sacrifice them?
Yeah.
So there's just some like stupid logic.
Yeah.
And so there are some very gory kills. But it's weird because like the movie takes itself very seriously. It's got kind of an interesting atmosphere. You know, it's a grieving mother and father. So it takes place in New England. I don't know where the fuck they shot it, but I don't know. They just shot it in like a very bland snowscape, like just like a house and it's just surrounded by snow. So it didn't has like a New England feel to it. You know, but it does kind of have like a melancholic atmosphere, which is kind of interesting for a horror movie. And then it's got some fun kills. I don't know. It just kind of like it went from what could have been an interesting movie about, you know, parents grieving the death of their adult son. And how they cope with it, and then adjusting to a new town, but then it just kind of degrades into like a generic, you know, splatter movie.
Yeah.
It's got some fun kills, but you know, but they're also very cheesy and over the top. They don't look particularly realistic, so that waters the movie down so much. You're like, oh, dude, just make a splatter movie. Don't make it a serious drama about parents grieving. Just make a fun, over the top, zombie demon splatter movie. I didn't recommend it. And I thought that it was just two completely different movies spliced together. But this is one of those movies that got amazing reviews, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which pissed me off because I went in thinking, everyone kept saying like, this is like a throwback to like, late 70s, early 80s horror. It's like it felt like Toby Hooper directed this movie. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. This is a garbage movie. So don't recommend it.
I will not watch that. It is on Tubi, is what this says. All right, so I have what's funny? I looked up grief horror movies and Ghost came up, which is like, that's not a horror movie. It's with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
So I'll do one more.
Yeah.
That I feel like I can't believe I didn't think of this one, because this is like a classic grief horror, and is one of the most iconic, and it has been redone once. So I'll say the original, like usual, it's better than the remake, and that's Pet Sematary.
Yes.
Like all time grief horror movie. I mean, dude, the way, like, first of all, the premise is kind of bizarre, and I don't even mean the reanimating corpses. I mean like the road that, Pet Sematary, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, so like, I mean like the road that has these 18-wheelers flying down it, and there's nothing that they can do about it. That's just like ridiculous. Like that's the most unrealistic part of this movie.
Speed trap for Mack trucks, like
it's great. Anyone would look at that and be like, "No, just put a fucking stop sign." Like, and that'd be done pretty quickly. But anyway, that aside, it's a really great movie about grief, because if a child dies in a gruesome way, they don't show it, but in a horrific way, and the pet cemetery is haunted, and so if you bury a pet there, it comes back, but let's just say it's not itself. And first it's a cat, I think, is it Church? Yeah, Churchill. I call him Church, which, by the way, I would totally do. Love my cats, but it is sad that they come back not themselves. They come back kind of nasty, but Church
sometimes
is like,
dead is better.
Who's that? Isn't that the actor who plays Lurch?
No, he played so it's Fred Gwynn. He played a Munster.
Okay.
Herman Munster.
Herman Munster. He's also the judge in
My Cousin Vinny.
Classic. Yeah, classic character.
Based on an author.
Maynor.
Yeah, exactly. Pet Sematary is based on a novel by your favorite author of all time. I think your favorite public figure, your favorite Twitter user.
But you know what's ironic about this is that I just listened to a podcast with his son, who I didn't realize. So I give him a lot of credit because he writes horror novels and horror stuff, but he doesn't go by King.
Joe Hill.
Though that is his last name. Yeah, it's Joe Hill, which I give that a ton of credit, because Stephen King is one of those writers, and one of the last writers. I don't think there are many of these at all anymore, where the name, I call it like writers whose name appears larger than the title. You're not buying this title, this story. You're buying the next Stephen King book. You're buying the next David Baldacci book. The next,
it's like they're their own subgenre. Like they're
it's like, it doesn't matter. They just churn these things out, and that's what it's books you buy at the airport. You buy moms and dads read them. Doesn't matter what generation. That's what moms and dad. You become mom and dad. You read Scott Turow. Actually, he might be a little more niche. Who am I missing? Who's the guy who wrote all the Alex Cross movies or books? What's his freaking name? The moms and
James Patterson.
Dads out there pulling their hair out. When I become a dad, whenever I'm start reading James Patterson. That's what you do. So anyway, but like these books, it's like that's who you're buying, and the title's superfluous. So So I give him a lot of credit for going by a different name. Again, it's not like that is his name. His last name is King, but he goes by Joe Hill.
He could have. It would have been funny if he'd have gone by joking, and he was like a humorist.
Oh, pretty good. That's pretty good, Joe.
I know.
So anyway, Pet Sematary is great. You get it. Like it's like, oh man, like you feel for these characters. It's one of those movies where the deceased, it happens in the movie. It's not like context before the movie. So you feel it, you get it, like you get what this dad wants to do. I believe it's more of his decision. But it's like, oh man, this isn't right. And I do like, it's just one of the, I think it's one of those movies or stories, let me say, that isn't appreciated enough for those elements of it. I think a lot of people focus on the horror elements and not so much the grief elements, which in that one, I think it's really well done. I don't remember how much I loved the movie. I remember not really liking the remake, the original being much better.
Yeah.
But that's like a really, really, I think, good example of grief horror done well.
No, definitely. And it was actually inspired by a house that Stephen King and his family were living in for a while. And it was a very similar thing where it's like the street that they lived on had just a lot of like fast driving trucks. And so they did. So there was actually like a pet cemetery because so many cats and dogs had died on this road. And so when their cat died, Stephen King had to tell his daughter or son, he had to have the sort of talk of like, things don't live forever and this is just part of life and blah. And so I thought it handled that aspect really well because I mean, we all have pets, and it's like, and I'm sure we've all had, experience when you're a kid of like someone who you loved or even a pet and your parents had to sit you down, kind of talk to you about the cycle of life and all that shit. And so I thought this movie handled that really well. I remember there was a fight scene between the main character and his father-in-law, like at the funeral, because I think the father-in-law freaked out, and so it kind of led to kind of like a fisticuffs at the funeral. And then afterwards, like they kind of made up, and the parents-in-law are leaving, and then he goes, "I'm sorry about what happened," and he holds his hand out, and then the dad just takes his hand, like doesn't even shake, just like, but like he's still like in shock that his young son dead. So like it's just handled like people just like in a daze after, like the closest person they love died. So yeah, I don't just, I thought it handled. Also, Stephen King wrote the scripts for this one. So and he played a priest in it too. He played the priest in one of the
he did. It sucks that he's so annoying. But
I know.
he has some great stories. That's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah. This is one I think we brought it up when we talked about ghost movies, but it was The Changeling.
Okay. Yeah.
With George C. Scott.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one quite a bit. So that's one where it's established that his wife and daughter have died recently, and so he moves to Seattle to rent a house. And I believe he's a composer, so he's there giving a lecture at the local college or something like that. And he begins experiencing these ghostly apparitions. And so he thinks that it's his dead child coming back to him, but it's actually something else. I thought, for a classy little chiller, I thought it was pretty good. It's definitely not like a super intense horror movie at all.
No, it's not. Yeah, I think I watched it last year. I forget if it was during Horror Fest or not. Definitely not as scary as I thought it was going to be. George C. Scott is just a fantastic actor, and there's a couple cool, just like practical scenes that I remember really appreciating.
Yeah,
but the story it wasn't my favorite.
Right.
Like it's a good movie. Like I recommend people watch it, but I remember it not being all that scary and the story being it's like it involves like a really rich guy who's a senator or something.
Yeah. And it was like his son who I think he killed or died or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's a different child that's haunting. But that's a good example, though, I think, of someone who's getting over the death of loved ones, and then they start experiencing supernatural phenomena, in while they're in this vulnerable state. So I think, and also the movie came out in 1980, so I think it's kind of a very early example of grief horror.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you have any others? Because I got a couple more.
No, let's wrap it up after yours.
Yeah. I was gonna say The Others. You ever see that one with Nicole Kidman?
No. I remember it was scary. Like I remember the scary part, like the infamous part.
I Am Your Daughter.
Yeah.
That I think falls into the category of grief horror. Unless your cat has a different opinion.
No, he's coming to us like, Joe, tell me about it. Tell me all about The Others.
So this one takes place in England during World War II. Nicole Kidman plays a woman with a couple of kids, and they're confined to this house. Oh, and then her kids, they have this condition where like they're super sensitive to sunlight, so they're just locked in this old like Victorian mansion. And I believe Kidman's husband is like away at war, so they're like waiting for the husband to come back, and then he does, but he's changed. Do you remember the twist of that? Do you remember what the big reveal of that movie was?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Yeah. So there are a lot of ghostly apparitions that the family encounter, and it turns out that they actually all died. And so the apparitions that they're encountering are actually like the new family that's moved in. It's not a great twist. It's not a great reveal.
Wait, they're the ghosts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
I guess, I mean, maybe it works, but it sounds like
the lead up to it is much more effective. I remember being kind of underwhelmed. So this movie came in 2001, so I think it kind of came out when it was like
a couple of years after
The Sixth Sense of like,
yeah.
Oh, it was a ghost the whole time, and like, hey, how about
when we do that, but just more of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I would get it more if it was like they're also ghosts, but I don't know how you could confuse one for that. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't see it. Yeah. It's not really fair of me to just assume things.
The ending isn't particularly great. But I remember everything else leading up to that, because it's one of those things where it's like, who keeps moving stuff around? Who's that figure at the end of the hall? Like, what are these sounds coming from? It's like, oh, like, what are they being haunted by? It's like, oh, it's just a family moving in. You're the ghost.
It's just a family trying to pay their mortgage.
Yeah, it's like Beetlejuice, but like, serious. So, I think that's it for moi. What about toi?
Yeah, I think no, that's all. I think we hit some of we talked about the ones I considered.
Okay, good. So let's put the flag in the ground here. Grief horror is
a thing now.
Yeah, and guilt horror is in its infancy, I think.
Yeah. All right, we'll cut that.
Yeah.
All right. So next week we'll wrap up Horror Fest, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. It's always fun.
All right, everyone. See you in the basement.
Oh, hey, you remember?
I remember.
See you in the basement, Joe.